Hello everybody, welcome whenever you may be listening to this, watching this, morning, afternoon, evening. Hope it's pleasant. And we're looking at this upcoming Sunday's Gospel, the 29th Sunday, and it's from Matthew chapter 22, 15 through 21. The Pharisees went off and plotted how they might entrap Jesus in speech. They sent their disciples to him with Herodians, saying, "Teacher, we know that you are a truthful man, and that you teach the way of God in accordance with the truth. And you're not concerned with anyone's opinion. If you do not regard a person's status, tell us then what is your opinion. Is it lawful to pay the census tax to Caesar or not?" Knowing their malice, Jesus said, "Why are you testing me, you hypocrites? Show me the coin that pays the census tax." Then they handed him the Roman coin. He said to them, "Whose image is this, and whose inscription?" They replied, "Caesar's." And that he said, "We pay to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and to God what belongs to God." The Gospel of the Lord. Alrighty. Well, once you have these Pharisees coming to Jesus, you know they're up to no good. They're trying to trap him. Oh, they want to get him. Oh, they want to get Jesus. And there they had him this time. Now the Pharisees are joined not by themselves, but the Herodians. That means they were King Herod on that side. So it's like the religious and the, I guess you'd say, public. Boy, he had his hands trapped. Now the previous Sundays we had these three parables where Jesus was kind of strong against the Jewish leaders, right? The Jewish leaders appear under the guise of unsatisfactory son who did not do his father's will. Remember that one? He said yes, but didn't do it. The parable of the wicked husbandman and their wicked husband, and the parable of the king's feast. We had that last week. And they are the condemned guest. If you recall, they didn't have the wedding garment on there, the condemned guest. So Jesus, in his own way, was putting pressure on them. And so now, it's their turn. They're going to trap Jesus. They're going to get him. Because they know what he was saying, and they know who he meant. Them. So this is their counterattack. And so they asked these questions in public deliberately. You know, they could have pulled Jesus aside, got him at a quiet moment, and just have a one-on-one conversation, but that was not their intent. They wanted the crowd to listen, because now they're going to trap Jesus. So when they asked him, was framed. He was being framed. Palestine, as you remember, was an occupied country, and the Jews were subject to the Roman Empire. And the question is this: is it lawful, yes or no, to pay tribute to Rome? Now these Jewish people, they were taxed. Now who likes taxes, right? None of us, right? And so they had three major taxes they had to pay to the Roman government. There was the ground tax. A man must pay to the government 1/10 of the grain and 1/5 of the oil and wine which he produced. That's 10%, and then 1/5. What's that, 20%? That's a nice chunk. And this tax was either paid partly in kind and partly in money equivalent. But that's not the end of it. There was what we call the income tax, which was 1% of a man's income. And then finally there was the poll tax. And this tax had to be paid by every male from age 14 to 65 years old, and every female from the age of 12 to 65. And it was amounted to about 1 denarius, which, remember, if you recall, it's a daily wage. Anyway, that's the tax they're talking about, this tribute coin. And this is the one that they were speaking of. By the way, as an aside, you see these Jewish people, they had a tax to Rome, and a big part of their money. First they, paid Rome, and then also they were tithing, to the temple for the religious services. And it was just one little 10%. There was a few things they had to tithe on as well. So they were really taking a chunk out of their income. Anyway. Well, the question they asked Jesus, it's a dilemma, right? Heads you lose, tails they win. You can't, Jesus is being trapped. So let's say if he says, one, that they don't have to pay the tax to Rome, now they could turn him in as being some sort of revolutionary, being seditious against the Roman authorities. And they would definitely arrest him for this, leading people astray, leading people to turn against Rome. And so he can't say that then. And if he said that, he'd be discredited in front of the people, wouldn't he? He said, if he said, no, you got to pay the tax to Rome. Oh, what kind of religious leader are you now? You also paying tribute to Rome? We thought you were the strong leader, the strong religious leader, and now you're just like everyone else. You're caving in, you're giving in. So he really couldn't win. So, anyway. Not only did they resent the taxes because of financial reasons, they resented for religious reasons. To a Jew, God was the only king. All right? Their nation was a theocracy. They didn't have a king at this time. God is king. God is ruler. So to pay a tax to an earthly king was to admit the validity of his kingship and thereby insulting God. Therefore, the more fanatical Jews insisted that any tax paid to a foreign king was necessarily wrong. Anyway, whichever way Jesus answered, he would get himself in trouble. You got to admire Jesus. He's quick on his feet. Huh? He comes up, imagine, he didn't prepare this answer. He knew what was happening and he thought quick. And he showed that this is, by saying, whose face is on it? Whose inscription? Caesar. When they give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and give to God what belongs to God. Now let's jump ahead. When Matthew wrote his gospel, in 70 AD or so, keep this in mind. 80, 70, around there, 80, 90. 80 and 90, he wrote the gospel. Back in 70, the Jerusalem temple had been destroyed, back in 70 AD. So now every Jew had been bound to pay this half shekel tax, temple tax. So after the destruction of the temple, the Roman government demanded that the tax should be paid to the temple of Jupiter in Rome. It's obvious how bitter regulation the tax was for Judah's stomach. The matter of tax was a real problem in the ministry of Jesus and a problem for the early church as well. And so Jesus on his feet says, he didn't really give an answer directly. Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and give to God what belongs to God. You know what the challenge for us is? We kind of know what belongs to government, right? If you don't, they'll let you know. But the question really comes down to, what belongs to God? That's where we struggle. We're made known what belongs to, U.S. government. They tax us, right? Well, really, what do I have that belongs to God? Have you thought about that? How much do I, give? What do I share? What does God expect of me? Is there a right percentage? Often the tithe, which is a 10% of our income. Wow, you may think that's a lot of, But that's just a guideline, really. Christians are not bound to the 10% tithe. It just gives us a base level, what we've got to expect. But we're supposed to be generous people. We are called to be generous. Because truthfully, whatever we have, it all belongs to God. There's nothing that is ours. Everything, it belongs to God because God has given that to us. And so we speak about stewardship, time, your talent, and your treasure. Okay? Time is, God has given us the time, so we give back some of our time. And usually we speak about time meaning part of our prayer life. Sunday worship, for example, but also a personal prayer life, and we should take time each day, have that discipline of giving time back to God, give God the best time of our day to connect to God in prayer. All right? How you do that, that's up to you. You can read the Bible, say your rosary, just quietly meditate, but each day, give back some of your time to God. Then we say your talent. Now, don't think you have to have this special talent, I got to be able to sing or play a musical instrument. No, that doesn't mean that kind of necessarily talent. A talent really, often what it means in this world, basically tell you what it means means showing up. A lot of things that people ask volunteers for, it doesn't usually require this special skill. Sometimes it does, but often we just need able bodies who are willing and who are good, cheerful spirit, and that's what we want, people who support. And so God has given us everything. God has given us our health, our intelligence, whatever it may be, And therefore we are called to give back as a sign of our gratitude and appreciation. And most of us are okay with that so far. We're saying, all right, that's not too bad, I can handle that. But it comes a little difficult now when we talk about our treasure. Because we think, wait a minute, I earned this. It's mine, right? It's mine. You ever take any of your little kids, grandchildren, children out to eat? I've done it in the past, right? For example, you took my nephew, whatever, it might have been years ago, took them to McDonald's. What do you like to eat? They want that Happy Meal, you get it, right? I get a little meal and trying to watch what I eat so I don't order myself any fries. I think, you know what I'll do? I'll just grab some of his, that's it. I don't want a lot, this way you limit me, you know what I mean? I don't want to eat the whole thing. And so you buy the meal, you sit down at the table, say little grace. You begin eating and you reach over and all of a sudden you try to grab a fry and go, hey, that's mine. Yours? What do you mean? It's only yours because I bought it for you. Yeah, you have no money. We're supposed to share. And that's how we speak to God. Hey, that's mine. I worked for this. I earned this. But God has given us the ability to work. He has given us the talent, the health. It all comes back to God. It all belongs to God. We need to be generous. You know, God has asked us to be generous as a sign of our gratitude and appreciation. And the truth is, if you give back to God, it comes back to you. God, you know, God blesses those who are generous. You know, to be generous. And so as you wrestle with this, I want to ask yourself, you know, think about this. Where am I? You know, what do I think belongs to God? What belongs to me? What am I refused to let go of? What do I say? God, this is mine. Hands off. Don't touch. Let God widen your heart to be generous. Because generous people are happy people. Generous people are at peace. You think about that. You pray on that. God bless you.